Here with Hayes Carlyon, our Jaguars beat reporter. You can read his work presented by Mr. Rooter, the Hayes Jaguars daily blog that you'll see on 1010XL. And of course, you hear him every weekday afternoon on The Franchi Show, Monday through Friday. And Hayes, here it is, playoff Sunday coming up for the Jags. They take on the Buffalo Bills. And even though the Jags struggled the last two games of the regular season, wasn't able to get a W, in fact, lost two games in a row for the first time this year, you talk to a lot of people in the media that cover the Jags, not a lot of concern with those two games heading into Sunday facing Buffalo.
That's right, and there's not a lot of concern in the locker room either. I talked to several guys today on Friday, and basically it was like, it seems like you guys have had these two losses roll off your back. Is that accurate? And they were like, yeah, it was tough to lose the games, but I do think that they sort of feel like they've had not a second chance, but I think they won the division, and I think there was a natural letting down of the guard. And credit Doug Marrone because he played his starters and they tried to knock Tennessee out of the playoffs. Didn't happen. But I don't get a sense that if this team performs poorly on Sunday, I don't think it'll be any hangover from losing the last two. It'll be more schematic flaws that are exposed by the Bills.
And obviously, looking at this game now moving forward, obviously the big question is Blake Bortles. Which Blake Bortles do you think we're going to see on Sunday against Buffalo?
I think he'll be pretty good, but I also think they're going to be able to protect Blake a little bit. Or I think what will happen is Blake will be aggressive earlier. That would be, I think, the preferred game plan here is to set up the run by throwing it early. So I think if they can get Blake off to a good start where he throws for 70, 80 yards in the first quarter, then I think ideally you'd have a two-possession lead at that point, 10-0, 14-0, something to that effect. And then I think you'll see the Jaguars move more into that protecting mode of running it, playing good defense, and trying to shorten the game and get to the end. So I think that's the recipe. I think when you look at Blake's numbers at the end of the day, they won't be probably overly impressive, but I think the key will be the first quarter for him, and I think he'll play well in that first quarter, and then he won't have to force anything later. So I don't see this being a 2-3 turnover game for Blake. I think he'll be pretty clean.
Flipping sides now, Jags defense taking on this Buffalo offense. Shady McCoy, obviously a game-time decision with the ankle that he's dealing with. It's a team that doesn't really throw to the receivers a lot, so you expect Ramsey and Boye maybe not to have impacts just because of the way Buffalo plays with not throwing the ball to the receivers that much or anything. But it's going to be a lot on that interior of that defense, right? With Clay, the tight end for Buffalo, still running routes and everything. It's still going to be up to the interior to kind of make some plays for this defense this week, right?
It will be. It'll be interesting to see how many shots on the perimeter Tyrod Taylor takes. I don't think you can just not take any. So I do think there'll be opportunities for Jalen and AJ to make plays. And Tyrod Taylor throws a very good deep ball. That's something that Jalen and AJ and Gibson and Church have all said when I've talked to them this week. So I think that will be something that you look at in terms of, look, we can't let our guard down. We saw the Jets do it. The Jets played a very smart game with McCown, and then right towards the end of the game, they hit a deep one to Robbie Anderson. So I think that's where it'll come into play a little bit more. But I don't think Tyrod Taylor can throw it 30 times and not test Jalen Ramsey and AJ Boye. I mean, you just don't normally see tight ends, even Gronkowski doesn't usually get 15 to 20 targets in a game. So will Clay be a priority? Yes. Will throwing it to the running back still be a priority even if McCoy doesn't play? Probably will be. But at some point, Tyrod Taylor is going to have to test the Jaguars, and I think that's where he's going to be in trouble.
He is Hayes Carlyon. Again, you can read his blogs on 1010XL.com. His Jaguars blog is presented by Mr. Rooter, and you hear him every weekday afternoon on The Franchi Show. You're on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Hayes, as always, thanks for the time.
Thank you.